Hi, boys and girls, library time, and we are going to read a book for the boys. Now, Mrs. Auclair is not very into military, but I did learn a lot when I read this book, and we've had this book for a while. We've already filled up a whole card, and I had to have a brand new card. But boys, second and first graders, you haven't seen this one, and you big boys, you probably want to hear it again. This is Aircraft Carriers, and it's a big ship. The mighty carriers. The military uses many different kinds of ships. These boats and subs, or submarines, travel all over the world doing different jobs. The biggest of these mighty machines are called the aircraft carriers. And the Intel report, aircraft carriers are more than 1,000 feet long. Look at that huge boat floating in the ocean. Magnificent, isn't it? Intel report. Older ships are decommissioned when a navy is no longer using them. Aircraft carriers are boats used in a navy or part of the military that works at sea. Many countries have at least one aircraft carrier in their navy. The United States Navy has the most by far. Look at that ship. There's the runway, and here they are in the ocean. Now, this one isn't in the ocean right now. It's docked because you can see the buildings in the background. But the airplanes land right there on the ship. An aircraft carrier is like a floating airport. And there's a helicopter, too. Airplanes, jets, and helicopters take off and land on the flight deck. Lots of different people and machines work together on an aircraft carrier. Carriers have many levels and millions of parts. The Intel report. U.S. aircraft carriers are so big they're considered U.S. territory when in international waters. A territory is a land that's not big enough to be called a state. Home at sea. An aircraft carrier does more than take care of airplanes. It's a home to thousands of sailors. It can stay at sea for months and months. An aircraft carrier has its own hospital, barbershop, and post office. And here's the Intel report. When at sea, an aircraft carrier has its own zip code. Oh, my word. That's how big it is, its own zip code. And here's the surgeons on board having surgery. Remember the big ship during the coronavirus that the president sent one big huge ship to Los Angeles and another big huge ship with thousands of hospital beds to New York City to help the people with the coronavirus. The first aircraft carriers were just regular ships. In 1910, a civilian pilot named Eugene Ely took off from a wooden deck on the USS Birmingham. The next year, Ely landed on a deck atop the USS Pennsylvania. So there he is. He was the very, look at the airplanes. You can tell that was a long time ago. 1910, the Intel report. Ely's plane flew 2.5 miles to shore, but not before skipping on the water and damaging its propeller. So it couldn't fly very far. And there's the huge ship back in 1910. The Langley. In 1922, the USS Jupiter was made into the first aircraft carrier. Renamed the USS Langley, it first had planes take off and land on it while in Virginia. The Langley was officially made active in 1924, so they've been using these for a long, long time. The Intel report. The USS Langley sank in 1942 when it was attacked by the Japan during World War II. Oh, wow. And there's a picture of it in the dock. Aircraft carriers have changed in many ways. Fleet carriers used in World War II led war efforts in the Pacific and the Atlantic Oceans. They acted as bases of operation and helped countries carry out attacks from far from land. The Intel report. The United States added more than 20 aircraft carriers to its Navy during World War II. Look at those huge ships. Modern aircraft carriers are gigantic ships with lots of moving parts. The USS Navy has two different classes of aircraft carrier, the Nimitz class and the Enterprise class. The Enterprise first set sail in 1961. The Nimitz class was introduced in 1975. The Intel report, because of their gigantic size, aircraft carriers can only travel about 35 miles per hour. So they're so big they can't travel very fast. Lots of levels. Both the Enterprise and the Nimitz class carriers have many levels. The flight deck is where the planes take off and land. The island towers over the flight deck. It's where people control the ship and help planes take off and land. And there's one down at the bottom, the Intel report. Many levels. Try to get this where you can see it. There's a glare. Many levels on the aircraft carrier, including the engine room, are well below the water level, so they're down underneath. But look at all that equipment and all that stuff on the top. Moving planes. Planes and helicopters are stored. Now, this is what I thought was amazing. The planes and helicopters are stored in the huge hangar, like the airport, below the flight deck. Sailors bring planes to the flight deck using elevators. What? They put the plane in an elevator and bring it to the flight deck. That boggles my mind. Many people work on the flight deck to move planes around. The Intel report, Enterprise and Nimitz carriers can hold, what? 60 planes in their hangar? Underneath, on the second level, they can have 60 airplanes down there and helicopters. That is unbelievable ship. There isn't much room to take off or land on a carrier. Some planes use a catapult to help them take off. Others need help landing. Some planes use a tail hook to catch onto strong wires that help the plane stop, or they would just keep going. Look at that. There's the tail. See the tail hook? The Intel report. The flight deck has only about 500 feet of space to land a plane on. So that's not very long, is it? And they're the people helping them. The Ford class. The newest aircraft carriers are part of the Ford class. The ships each have 25 decks and cost $12 billion. The first Ford class is called the Gerald R. Ford CVN 78. The Intel report. The Ford class will replace the Enterprise and the Nimitz class aircraft carriers. Look at that. That is huge. The future. Ford carriers are made to help planes take off much faster. They'll also help the Navy save money. Aircraft carriers are sure to be part of the military for many years to come. The Intel report. Aircraft carriers are built to sail for more than 50 years. So they can use them for 50 years. And here, boys, you would like to see this. Here's the flight deck. There's the island, the elevators, the catapults, and the jet blast deflectors. Oh my goodness. That is the aircraft carriers. And they're by Ryan Nagelholt. So you boys, when you get back to school, you're going to have to read all these books. And third graders, you can start reading for the boys club. So, I love you. Have a good day. Bye.